And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray as I try to figure out what button to get going. How are you today? I certainly hope you're fine as we get it going. 31 right now. Actually, it's dropped a degree. We're sitting at 30 degrees now. Our high is only going to be 49. Wow. That's cold, isn't it? It's going to get worse, though. We'll give you your forecast here in just a little bit as temperatures are going to drop really, really low over the next few days. And it'll warm back up later. But this weekend, expected to be one of the coldest that we have as we get ready for this weekend. Been working hard behind the scenes up until the last second there to try to get some information that has been going on overnight. I got a little bit here. We'll get it all together. I think we've had some break-ins that we're attempting to get all the information on as Meridian businesses suffer a little bit more. Bad guys are still out. We need to catch them, don't we? A lot of activity yesterday afternoon, and we'll give you all those details as we start today. Thursday, as we're 1 week now away from Thanksgiving. Is everybody ready for this? Turkey Day. I hope you are. And don't forget, I don't know. I'm not a cook, so I don't know how many days you have to set the turkey out for it to thaw. I do know you can't wait till the night before. I have figured that out. But the experts are out there, and I don't know. We'll tell you about all that. And the loss of a person that we used to watch on TV from Hogan's Heroes has passed away in the overnight hours. We'll tell you all about that in a moment. Right now, let's head out to Collinsville. Anybody passed through there lately? Let's go out to the Collinsville Baptist Church. And the worship pastor is joining us this morning. He's going to talk about storms. Well, we've all seen those, haven't we? Let's check in with David.
Have you ever been in a dangerous situation where you definitely lost control? I remember a few years ago in college when I was told to take shelter because a tornado was in the area. I huddled with my friends in an interior room in disbelief while an enormous tornado tore through our campus, literally destroying everything in its path. In those moments, I learned to appreciate two things. First is how powerless I really am, and second was how desperately I wanted Jesus to deliver me and all my friends from the storm. In Matthew 8:23, Jesus' disciples experience a very similar situation when a great storm threatens to sink their ship. And when they realize that there's nothing they can do, they call for Jesus to come and save them. You see, the truth is that we generally rely so much on our own ability to do everything in our life that it's not until something happens that's totally beyond our control that we finally realize how truly powerless we are. What would happen if you stopped relying on your own ability and started trusting in the power of the God you serve? He's so powerful that even the wind and the waves obey him. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. I believe he was talking about that tornado that came through Tuscaloosa a while back. As we begin this, Sheriff Billy Solly, I don't know if you're watching this morning, but instead of bothering you, I've been picking on Ward, waking him up and sending him text messages and trying to get to the bottom of what we had that happened last night. One of the big stories, and we have to say great job to the Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department taking some more bad guys off of the street. We've got several stories that the Sheriff's Department has done, but this morning I got a note from someone that goes, hey, I think I saw deputies after someone last night. So I initiated it, and this is what we got back. I just got this just a moment ago. We'll get this typed up, and we'll get it out, but it's live, and I thought we would share what we do know at this point. Last night, I went to the wrong text. I went too far up. It means I bugged Ward too much, doesn't it? At approximately 10:45 last night, where most of us were either in the bed, getting ready to go to bed, a deputy initiated a traffic stop near the section of Highway 19 and 20th Street Extension. The vehicle fled northbound on Highway 19, so if you were out, and I got several messages about that, at speeds greater than 110 miles an hour. Now, the road where they were going was empty. It wasn't hurting anybody. No one was in danger. The vehicle then turned westbound onto Whipplewheel Road. That'd be down toward the Water Association. The driver then stopped the vehicle in the roadway, just stopped. The vehicle was occupied by three males, one of which was 16 years old. The other two were 18. Can you believe that? Babies. The pursuit is still being investigated for information on the charges that will be released a little bit later on today. mighty, mighty young to be driving that fast. And as we all know, you don't drive that fast or flee from police unless you've done something that is probably not too good. That could be some jail time. So we'll find out what the charges are later. All of that, again, one 16-year-old, two 18-year-olds in the car that fled in a little white car is what I'd got. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Pam says, great job there, David. Let's see here. Let's get into a few things. This is, as we get into this cold weather, as I mentioned, right now we're sitting at 30 degrees. When I first got up and made it to the studio this morning at 4, it was 31, so we've dropped 1 degree. With that being said, it is major, major cold weather, and with that is structure fires that happen. And we had about 3 last night the Meridian Fire Department had to go out to. We got one of the first ones here, the latest ones. Let's show this here on 5th Street. A home, they responded to this about an hour ago in the early morning hours there. Flames were reported showing out of the home. Everyone got out. I do believe that there was a mother and 2 children that were in this home. Again, this was on 5th Avenue is where this fire would take place. If you'll look at the map there, that's Highway 19. Let's click on this, make it a little bit bigger here where you can see this map here. This is Highway 39 right here. This would be Johnson Dodge Kia. It is back in here behind Air Gas where that fire happened there on 5th Avenue. We pray for that family and hope that everything is okay. And if you live in that neighborhood, please help them. They will need help with that. We also see that damage was made to a home on Church Avenue. Everyone made it to the safety on that as well. And that is good news, but that's your second one. I also had a report on 8th Street. This would be a car wash. I don't think it was a total loss or anything, but the Meridian Fire Department responded to this. It's y'all remember where the old Dolly Madison place was? Right next to it there where there's a car wash. That building was reported with smoke boiling out of it last night. The Meridian Fire Department would respond to that. That's right down from Mr. Taco, I think is what that is called. Right there on 8th Street. If you're in that neighborhood, that's where that fire broke out last night. Is it possible that someone set that and one of these homes, I think, was abandoned? People do that, and as we all know, homeless is a huge problem in our area, and they got to keep warm. That's what they're trying to do, and fires happen from this. Sometimes they're set intentionally, sometimes it's accidental. I know that for a while we had constant fire. Remember the old bumpers there on North Frontage Road? They would go in there and try to start fires. It was constant there. Think of them, and I really don't know what to say about it, of what the answer is. I know there's a few shelters. If you know of shelters that I'm not aware of, pass along. Get that word out there. We had an accident last night with possible injuries just north of Marion. I hadn't had a chance to speak to the chief, but I know the Meridian Mississippi Highway Patrol actually responded to this, but this will be on the outskirts of Marion there. It's Sam Lackey Road. If you don't know where that is, right past the Cotton Gin is where that wreck would happen, right up north of there. Injuries involved with that. It was a single vehicle accident that happened there last night. Let's see what else. If you were in the Bailey area and you were on the North Lauderdale Water Association water and you were going, why don't I have water pressure? I got a note of there's a water leak down the road. I thought, well, why is that important? Well, it was the size of the water leak. So I jumped in my truck, I ran down the road, and this is what I came upon. And let me turn this on just so you can see how high this is going. Wouldn't you love that to be your front yard? Now, that was right at dark 30. That's when temperatures were getting cold. So, big thank you to the NWS water guys that had to get out in that cold weather and work on that. That's pretty rough to have to get out in that water and work in that mud when it's cold. So they were all over that. We did have a report of a single vehicle accident yesterday. The Lauderdale County Sheriff's Department responded to that. They're in the curve at Crescent Lake Road and Zero Road. I don't think there was any major injuries or anything, but our deputies did respond that to help folks out. We also, as we look at the overnight hours, and again, as I said, we're working on some stories. I'm trying to get it all together of some possible burglaries from last night. I do know that there was at least 1 round fired. Actually, it was 4 to 5 rounds reported of gunshots in the Meridian area. And this would be just south of 8th Street is where this would be. Gunshots would be reported near Davis and Valley Street in that area. As you'll look at this, as you come into this, let me zoom this up a little bit closer there. Where Wendy's is on 8th Street, it would be in south of AutoZone. Due south there, a few streets back is where that all happened last night. To my knowledge, no one was hurt. No one was injured in that. It's constantly. Now, State Boulevard yesterday, now this was during the daytime as you're waking up watching all this. We had more issues at State Boulevard. Lots of gunfire. My first report, somebody sent me a text and said, look, there's gunfire here. And this would be here where Royal Road runs into State Boulevard, that area there. In just a little bit, we would get another report that a home had been struck. And let's pull this up. This would be just north of there. Zoom this up a little bit bigger there for you to see here. State Boulevard in the curve there near Druid Hills. A home was hit with gunfire. Now, if I am not mistaken, this is the same home. Do you remember a few months back where the gentleman was found shot in the ditch and he later died at the hospital? I think he was possibly the 10th murder of the year that died there. It would be that same home, if I am not mistaken, that would be struck by gunfire. That's a 3,000 block of State Boulevard extension. No injury involved with that, but again, we did have a house shot. Now, I can't back this up with a police report. I don't have this. I only know what I was told, that it was unreal amounts of gunfire involved with these 2 incidences up and down that road. If you live in that area, you travel that area, be extremely careful. We don't want anybody hurt. And they keep coming back to the same location. We've had that happen several times in that area. Heads up, State Boulevard, and also Royal Road, anywhere near Davidson Road, the 3,000 block. Y'all be careful if you go through there daily or live on that street. We want you safe. It's consistently something happening there. So we pass that along with sincere hopes that everybody won't be hurt. Now, we'll get into this further this morning. And I honestly tell you this with the honesty of my bottom heart as I tell you this next shooting that happened yesterday to where no one was hurt. No one, and to my knowledge, nothing was hit. I don't see how. Western Gardens. Now, here's the concerning part. Y'all know what the Boys and Girls Club is? They help kids. They go pick them up and they do things for them. Western Gardens. Let's pull this up here. Right there. Let me click on this picture where you can see this a little bit better. Let's go in here to Western Gardens here. This will be due west of Highway 19, where Western Gardens is. There was a bus that was dropping off kids from the Boys and Girls Club. And, you know, those ages range anywhere from 5 or 6 years old, maybe 7 years old, up to about 15. They were getting off the bus. Gunshots would ring out. Now, again, I don't have a police report in front of me stating that 100% I'm right on this, but I am told through the grapevine that anywhere from 30 to 45 rounds were fired in that area. Now, that's a lot. The school bus, as soon as the shooting started, fled the scene. No children were hurt. Somehow, by the grace of God, they were not hurt. But that happened over there yesterday afternoon. Now, if y'all live out there, old Highway 80 West, eyes open at all times. We had a pause in the shooting there for a little bit. It is back on the rise again. Normally, it's either robberies for a little while and they back off of this, but here lately, it's been a little bit of both. So we've got 2 areas of Meridian to be extremely cautious. Anything west of 19 toward Western Gardens in that area of State Boulevard. Children could have been hurt and seriously hurt. If you live in that area, you know what I'm talking about, and I'm sure that you're tired of this. Speak to your council person. Speak to the police chief, and also speak to our mayor of the Meridian area. What are we going to do? Our elected officials are who we depend upon. We vote for them to have our safety, don't we? As we know, the police department is doing all they can, the officers. We're not blaming any officer. They work hard every day. This is administrative level. When does the city council step in and go, Mayor, what are you doing? I'd like to hear from them. We had a scare yesterday morning, if y'all remember, out at West Lauderdale Middle School. What went on? There was a report of smoke at first, and then, well, it wasn't a fire. Then I got message that it truly was a fire there. And let's look at these pictures here. This is what happened. It was an AC unit. As we look here, here's the ambulance and the fire trucks as they arrived on scene. And from what I understand, they evacuated the building within less than 1 minute to get all the kids to safety. Now, that's good. Those fire drills do work. If you'll look at that, that's where the fire was, up in the roof. And let me show you what caused this right there. And I get this, and a big thank you to Bailey Volunteer Fire Department sharing these pictures with me. That's what happened there. Now, do I know what caused the air conditioner to catch on fire? I do not. They're investigating that, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, and they're going to be checking all schools and all piping to make sure that all that is okay. We do appreciate what the fire department done to make sure that happened. As I told you a few moments ago, I've been bugging Ward a lot lately, and he sent me some information yesterday afternoon. And you have to really pat somebody on the back. If you're a deputy, you're out in the middle of the night, you see a car, they pull over and they check it out. They run tags to make sure everything's okay with it. As they've done this is where this story leads us. And you know, you don't think about Oklahoma having a tie to Meridian, Mississippi, do you? More or less Causeyville, Mississippi, do you? No, not at all. But an escape, this is how this works. When we share these things from other parts of the nation, you never know how close it could get to your home. Oklahoma, an escaped convict ends up in Causeyville. Can you believe that? Let's look at this. Let's pull this up here. As I spoke to Chief Deputy Ward Calhoun night before last, not last night, but the night prior, approximately 6:30, it wasn't as late as I thought. Deputies got out with an unoccupied vehicle on Highway 45 near the Causeyville Road. After running the tag, it was determined the vehicle had been stolen from the Jackson area there in Hinds County. Deputies searched the effort to locate the suspect. Based on their investigation, it was determined that the driver might be in a restaurant on North Frontage Road. They contacted MPD, and the search began. They found somebody, and the guy gave them false ID. He was taken into custody so they could determine who he was, since it was a false ID. And as it turns out, he was one of two that had broken out of jail all the way from Oklahoma. The other person would be caught after a car chase, and I think he wrecked in Jackson. They caught him. This guy was caught in Meridian. It's a very, very small world. As you see these bolos that are sent from other states, never doubt that they can end up near us. And I have to say congratulations and a thank you to the Sheriff's Department for taking that initiative to make sure, instead of passing on by, well, somebody ran out of gas. We appreciate the efforts that the Sheriff's Department, all our police do. It keeps us safe at night, and we want to say thank you. He was taken into custody, and he's no longer a threat or harm to anybody here in our state and our town. That's good. Boy, it's a lot of things going on. Let's take a look at, I've spent a lot of time on local events, some of the things that are happening in the state. We may not get to get it all in this 30 minutes that we get here before the gets underway. We do see that, let me see here what happened. A Byram, which is just west of Jackson, a grandfather's been accused of shooting his 18-year-old grandson. He's been taken into custody. We'll find out more about that. He's still in the hospital. There's more to that story than meets the eye. Was it an argument? We don't know. They're looking at this happened around 8:30 on Tuesday afternoon. Grandfather and grandson. Boy. And we want to say congratulations to our friends up in Louisville. This is a pretty big deal. Taylor Machine Works, y'all know that? They are celebrating 95 years of business. That's worth the tip of a hat, isn't it? Congratulations to y'all. They've been doing business since 1927. That's a long time. They employ a lot of people. Great jobs. Appreciate them. Madison police escaped the guy that we were talking about. They caught the other guy. His last name was Thomas Kofer. They caught him over there after a wreck. A Lee County man is being charged with terroristic threats and is taken into federal custody. Do y'all remember that? The guy in the airplane? This is where all this gets real weird because they're not releasing any information. The guy that had the airplane that was flying around Tupelo. We followed it that morning. The Lee County man. And again, Cody Wayne Patterson was his name. He is dead now. He was 29 years old. He was in prison for that. He was going to crash his plane, if you'll remember, with suicide into a Walmart. He has died in custody. Again, they're not commenting on the cause of death. We can only assume. We don't know. We'll find out. I hate to jump out on a limb and start guessing when we don't know. Always try to keep a watchful eye in the Starkville area. We got a lot of people in this area all around, all these counties that have kids that go to Starkville. A shooting happened at an apartment complex there. Shots were fired at Connor Heights apartment. No one was injured, but shots were fired. Boy, oh boy. We got a lot of other things going on around the state as we look at this morning. Let's see here. Vicksburg police investigating where a 16-year-old was shot. That's mighty young for that. He was shot in the hand and thigh as he was driving down the road in Vicksburg. These drive-by shootings happen everywhere, all throughout the state. It's a sad day when that happens, isn't it? We'll be right back. We're going to check your forecast. That's a quick look at headlines. We're going deeper into all of this when we get into the 8 o'clock show this morning. Y'all stay close. We're going to check that forecast next. The Precast Group, offering you the best selection when it comes to a storm shelter. Located on 145 South in Meridian, where they offer above-ground shelters that can be installed in your home as you're built-in, are conveniently located right outside your home if it's already built. They also offer storm shelters that can be installed in a slight bank or on flat ground. Protect your family today with a very affordable storm shelter from the Precast Group. Highway 145 South, 601-482-0003. The Precast Group. And welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Let's get into this forecast as we look at this morning. As we're looking at 30 degrees right now, let's go back and find out what happened a few years ago.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
As we look at our record highs and record lows, 2013, high of 86 was set on this date. Now, back in 97, not all that many years ago. Oh, yeah, it was, wasn't it? It was 23 on this day. 1997. Can y'all believe it's been that long? As we look to today, sunshine high of only 49 in Meridian. Colder in Philadelphia. Y'all will see 48. Columbus Air Force Base. We're looking at 46 degrees today. To our south, we'll get 50. And Royal Hattiesburg, a little bit warmer, about 52 is what we're expecting. Now, as we go over to Alabama, we see that Tuscaloosa will see every bit of 47, about 48 in Demopolis, and we'll be hovering 48 to 49 in Livingston. Auburn, looks like those Tigers will be at 49 today. As we look across the nation, this is what we see. Kind of normal here. We got a cool front coming out of Texas, which will be here. And we got this finally making its way in a week or so. It'll warm things up. As we look at our forecasts, next 7 days, here's what we got. Cold, cold, and cold. Tonight, one of the coldest we'll have. 27 degrees is forecasted for tonight. Be prepared for what is coming. We look to tomorrow, 53 for a high, 31 tomorrow night. Over the weekend, a low of 30 on Saturday night. Sunday night, as you wake up Sunday morning, it's going to be bitter cold. 27 for that low. But sunny, we'll have highs right there at that 50-degree mark. And by Wednesday, temperatures will start moving back into the 60s. As we look ahead toward the 25th, Turkey Day. Looks like we may get showers there, about a 60% chance of rain on Thanksgiving Day, as our highs will be 61, and we'll hover at the 60s all the way through December the 1st. A little bit warmer there. We look to the tropics, absolutely nothing happening there this morning. That's good news. Our fishing forecast from Chet's Paint and Body tells us the best time to fish, well, it's going on right now through about 8:30. Small chance this afternoon. It'll be way after dark before it gets good again. That northwest wind will be 5 to 10 today. It's an average day of fishing if you got to be out there. We see that Joyce Godwin tells us there in Murfreesboro, 22 this morning there near Nashville. Laura, you're saying 24 where you are. That is cold. 30 in Hickory, Scott tells us. A lot of temperatures out there. Very cold morning as we glance around of everything that's going on. So y'all back up, make sure that your cars are warm before you go. You're going to need that for sure today. Let's see what else we've got going on. Don't forget the Causeyville Car Show is going to be happening this weekend as we get ready for that. their 6th annual, getting underway at 9 o'clock Saturday morning. Go help them out. They would appreciate that. Gives you a little something to do there. Let's see here. Also at Singing Brakeman Park, Community Resource Day will happen on Saturday. If you can make it out for that at 3 p.m., 9 to 3 is when that will take place. Still a lot to do this weekend as we get into all of this. See here, we got a rummage sale coming up in Meridian this weekend also. It'll kick off Saturday from 9 to 5. That's what they'll do. Second chances. They'll be helping out some people there for roadside rescue. Hope you can go by and support them. They do a lot for the puppy dogs in our area. Always important to help those. I'm such a sucker for pups, aren't y'all? We're getting word that in Stark Vegas, 28 degrees there. Whoa, boy. All right, we'll be back in roughly an hour from now. We'll give you all the details of what's happening this morning with the weather so that you're up to date on it. We'll give you all the headlines. And again, we're working on some possible break-ins. If you have a business in the area of 23rd Avenue, 8th Street, pay attention, check your businesses. We're getting deeper into this as daylight breaks as to what happened in the overnight hours. These criminals have been busy lately. So we're working on 2 possible burglaries from overnight. We'll let you know what we find out in a little bit. We'll be back as we continue the Scotty Ray Report at 8 o'clock, as we'll have Miss Candace coming in. See you then.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: